Hero, this right here is your American officer. He's an eccentric millionaire. So he's got a really, really nice gun. He's got some added pull with command, and that sort of thing. Then you have your mechanic. Now, we don't have the rocket troops on the table, so we're gonna use the mechanic instead. She's only good at one thing, and that's transferring her action points to the Buffalo or the robots. If she's in base contact with any of them, she can transfer up to 2 of her 3 action points to the robot or the Buffalo, and then they can use those on their next activation. Then we've got our Buffalo. Buffalo's our mechanized infantry. There's a guy in there. He's also got our Tesla electrical cannon. That fires that blue template right there. And it's this nice blast of electric energy that ignores cover. Nasty. The guy's got a really high armor value. Apart from the villains, the only thing that can really hurt him is we got a bazooka, a panzer shrimp. And maybe a lucky grenade hit. You got 2 units of robots. Robots carry Thompsons. They can move and fire them. They only have 1 action point each. They're absolutely terrible shots. They're not going to hit anything.
Villains can't take out the Buffalo?
I'm sorry?
You said beside you.
Oh.
Maybe a villain. Unless Dan's playing the robots, they're terrible shots. But they're really good at laying down suppressive fire. Now, we do have rules for suppressing models, so you can lay down a lot of shots to try and pin them rather than trying to hurt them. So the robots are really only good at that. They're pretty sturdy, though, so they'll take a lot of shots. Then you have a unit of 2 airborne. They're just your regulars, your bread and butter. They got M1 Garands, they have grenades, fun stuff like that. And then you've got an American sniper. And that's it. He's got a really long-range gun. He ignores some penalties for or some bonuses for cover and that sort of thing.
Is there 2 of them?
Yeah, the other one goes for the other detachment. So now over there we've got our veteran detachment where it's led by the airborne officer to the left there. That airborne officer is just a standard officer, but he's been upgraded to an elite. So, and actually so is this guy. They're normally veterans, but you can run them as elites if you want. So those are your 2 officers right there. Then we're introducing some of our occult factions here. Now we've got 2 British allies for the Americans, even though we don't have a model for one of them. So we're using our OSS agent. He's actually going to be a member of the British Ministry of Arcane Armaments. And we're using our occult rules for this one. He carries a couple of arcane devices with him. So he possesses a couple of arcane artifacts that give him some bonuses to a few things. But basically, primarily he's used to unlock the druid, who's right in front of him. And the druid is, the British mystic. He can cast some spells. The 2 spells that he has access to. Let me pull those out here for you real quick, so that way you guys know what he's doing. Sorry about that. All right. So the druid has. Sorry about that. Here you go. So the druid can entangle his enemies, so he can cast a spell on an enemy unit to make them slow, where they can't sprint or charge.
Is that a continuing effect or just
It lasts for the enemy unit's next activation. And then he can also summon a green man, which we're going to use the War Machine models over there, the Hordes models, because we don't have our own yet. We actually just got the sculpts in. But if he's within 12 inches of a piece of wooded terrain, so if the druid gets close to that clump of trees, he can summon the green man, and the green man operates as its own unit. It can run around and do some cool stuff. So then you've also got a unit of airborne heavy weapon team. They've got a bazooka. They can fire with the bazooka, but then it's not loaded, so you need to reload it. Then you got your sniper, and then another unit of airborne. So then in addition to those guys, we got our Pulp City heroes. Starting on turn 2, one of these will arrive each turn, and they have to appear within 12 inches or so of one of these points. So if the Germans can destroy those points before all the heroes get there, then they won't get all their heroes, they won't get all their backup. So we've got Ace of Wraiths. He's, here, Magic. You want to explain who these guys are?
Yeah, sure. So for those of you who have not seen them in action, Iron Train
He's a guy that's basically your walking tin can that can take a lot of punishment. That guy's background, he used to be a railway guy, got kicked out of a job by some guys, and suddenly found himself in the armor and defending Pulp City. Hoodoo, she's a little voodoo priestess coming from the south, and the wolf she's coming with, this is actually a werewolf that got sent by a voodoo coven, and she slain the wolf and reanimated it as her companion. Androida, she's a speeder, and technically Androida and Iron Train, they're both on the same superhero team. Ace of Rays, he's the ancient gunslinger that was the first inhabitant of Pulp City 200 years ago. He won a deck of cards and a cursed gun with Satan in a game of cards, and he can't die. He's immortal. Anytime he gets killed, he just is reborn the next dawn. So this gun has to claim as many souls of villains as it had claimed of the good people before he can rest. Now the bad guys you're having over there, Hellsmith, that godling just got awakened after centuries of being asleep. He used to be the helper of Hephaestus, the god of forges, but he got greedy because the Hephaestus would get all the credits. So he decided to work for the other gods, and he got cast down to Styx, and just recently got awakened in Pulp City. Twilight, this is a shadow assassin. She works for the Voodoo Coven organization that's hunting down Hoodoo. So she is your sneaky woman, sneaky assassin. Nuke, that's a radioactive monster. He's basically a pool of chemicals that's being formed in man's eyes, and he's got some agendas that he's pursuing. Morn is coming from Necroplane, which is like a parallel world to Earth, and it's basically the same as Earth, but everything there is dead. So they don't have superheroes, they have dead superheroes. So Morn is the guy that has some Banshee-like powers, because his cape is made of souls, so those souls keep screaming, and he's pretty much your Banshee.
He told me he was going to do it. And I'm like, okay, it's cool. So